Okay, let's do a quick example on the practicality of functions and how to design a function. So consider the following example in processing. So we have a setup function. We have double A, B, and C initialized to 2, 3, and 4 respectively. We have a double average variable. And this program is basically calculating average and then printing out to the screen, to the console rather. We talked about that we basically don't want any sort of mathematics or any detailed calculations or detailed processing inside setup or draw. We want them to basically include function calls in such a way that you can kind of look at your setup and draw and it looks like sort of pseudocode because it lists all the steps that you're going to do. So what we basically do is we're going to take the calculations out and make that into another function. So quite literally, we're just going to copy and we're basically going to cut this out. So you cut that out and you put it inside a function. So we said a function has a body. Okay, that's really the body of our function. Because I quite literally just copied and pasted it from here. Now that I copied and pasted it, the program doesn't work properly. So I need to so I need to connect everything, right? So I have my chunk of code here. I need to make it into a proper function. First of all, I need to ask myself, well, I need to call this something. So I'm going to call it calc average because it's a sensible name. It calculates average. Then I need to ask myself, what are the inputs that are coming in? So there's going to be 3 doubles coming in, and it doesn't matter what I call it, what I call them. So I could call them double A, double B, double C, right? Then those are the inputs. Then I need to think about the output. Well, what is the output here? The output, remember, each function can return only one value. So the output can only be one variable. The output is, of course, a double because 3 doubles. I have 3 doubles, so the output is going to be a double. What's missing? So I need to actually return something back, right? So I need to say return average. Average is what I'm calculating here. Is this right? Is everything working correctly? Well, first of all, if you look at here, there's something missing. But before we get to that, our function isn't correct yet. The reason is A, B, and C are recognized within calculate av, but average isn't. Average hasn't been passed to calculate av, and it hasn't been declared. So in order to make this make sense, we need to declare average inside of our calc av. The only thing that remains, so if I say go, what happens is it gives me an error because it says average hasn't been initialized. So inside of average we have garbage. This average has nothing to do with average down here. So it says that I can't print what's inside of average because inside of average you have garbage. So we need to actually do the function call. And if you recall, in the function call we would say calc av. So we actually call and we give it the values that it wants. So it wants we're just going to give it A, B, and C. And when I call it now, then we get value 3. So it is working properly. One thing I should let you know is that it doesn't matter if I change these values to X, let's say Y and Z, it doesn't matter. I'm going to get A copied into X, B copied into Y, and C copied into Z because they copy in order, right? The only thing that matters here is now I have A, B, and C, and A, B, and C are not recognized. A, B, and C are in the scope of CalcAv. They're not in the scope of A, B, and C have been declared in the scope of setup. They have not been declared in the scope of CalcAv. So if I try to run this now, it's going to complain because it doesn't know A, B, or C. So I need to change these also to X, Y, and Z. And now it works just fine. So if I run it, I would get 3. Also, when I call CalcAv, you need to realize that CalcAv is expecting 3 values. So if I go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just gonna pass A and B, and I say run, guess what? It doesn't work because it says, well, the only CalcAv that I know, it takes 3 inputs. So you're not giving me 3 inputs, you're giving me 2, so it doesn't work and complains. So as soon as I give it C, then it runs again. Now another thing, this is expecting 3 numbers, 3 doubles basically. So if I said, for example, 10, 20, and 50, it takes them as, even though like they're whole numbers, it takes them as doubles and it does what it needs to do. So even 3 numbers work fine. So the average of the 3 is calculated. Or I could say calculate the average of 10, and then I would say and B for the second one and 50 for the third. So when I run this, again, it works because it puts 10 for X, it puts B, the value of B, which is 3, into Y, and it puts 50 into Z, right? So I know I'm probably overdoing this, but I would like to really quickly draw the memory diagram here. So everything starts with setup. In setup, I have A, which is 2, B, which is 3, and C, which is 4. And then I get average, which is garbage. And then we do a call to CalcAv. So CalcAv appears. So this is CalcAv. The memory is divided into 2, and I'll have X, which the value that is copied into X is 10. Then I have Y, the value that's copied into Y is the value of B, which is 3. Then I have Z, and 50 is copied into Z. And then I have average up here. Okay, average up here, and average is going to be X plus Y plus Z. So that's 10 plus 3 plus 50. So that is 63. And then the next line, we're going to say average divided by 3. So average actually becomes 21. And then we say return average. So CalcAv is destroyed, and the value of average is going to become stored in the variable average in setup, which is named the same thing by coincidence. So this becomes 21. So that's clear for everybody, hopefully. If you wanted to debug this and if you wanted to see what's happening, so I said, for example, in the beginning, I'm saying that the value of X and Y and Z are these. You can actually see this by putting simply a print statement here. So I'm going to put a print statement. So hopefully everybody is pretty good with using print statements to debug. So I'm going to say in calc_av, the values of x, y, and z are, and I'm going to print out x, y, and z, and as we said, it's going to be 10, 3, and 50. So they map in order that they are. That's how you get the values.